But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm one of these people who has been interested in psychology like for most of my life at this point. Like I remember back when I was like 12, 13, like I'm gonna read Freud. It's like all right. So yeah, I just early on, I figured out that this field of psychology is something that for whatever reason I really grasp onto. I always attribute a little bit of my interest in the field and my desire to learn more about it. Kind of going back to what I said before, I'm actually a pretty intense introvert. So I've always been like kind of uncomfortable around other people, like it's weird. Other people I can't understand you. So I always felt like with psychology, this is how we can actually understand how people work, like understand how my own mind works, understand how other people's minds work, how as a society, how people relate to each other. And so that's always been appealing to me to try to figure this out.
Interesting you say that, because the reason that I was like in the beginning, when I was really like, I'm still really interested in psychology, but the start of it started for, I guess, the same reason as yours, but kind of opposite, because I'm completely extroverted. I like talking to everyone. I like talking people's ears off. I talk to everyone in the bus. I don't care. I can't. And the reason that I got interested in psychology was that for some reason in the beginning, when I wanted to interact with people, I just couldn't. I was saying stuff and I wanted to continue the conversation, but I just couldn't. And I think the first, I can't remember the first book, but it was, I can't remember. But the first book that I picked up at around 14 or 13 and read it kind of taught me the social signals of psychology and what this means, and when a person does this, that means that. And I started like over analyzing anyone, and that kind of helped me in the beginning. So in a sense, I learned psychology to kind of quote unquote like manipulate people into like converting with me and like talking with me. And it took me a while to realize why that was completely and utterly wrong, because I was just manipulating people to like have a conversation. And over time, I feel like I kept my interest in psychology to know when someone is using those kind of tricks on me. And it has worked. I've met people in my life that were like exactly like me and kind of use these psychology signals and psychology tricks to kind of get you to talk to them and get you to do stuff for them. And I feel like thankfully I never did it to make someone do anything for me or make anyone feel guilty about what they do or anything like that. I just wanted to talk. But I have met people who are very sophisticated and very smart and use those things to kind of twist you into doing what you wanted, what you don't want to do, and what they want to do. And I like that. I like the knowledge of knowing, oh, this person did this and did this and did that. There's a very high chance of them trying to even subconsciously play a trick on me. And that kept me really interested in psychology, by the fact that, I do also want to become a therapist in the future. So I enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely a potential dark side in psychology, and definitely. I mean, some people just kind of figure this out on a more natural level. Like you just pick up some tips and tricks, and we call it charisma.
Exactly, charisma. That was it.
Exactly. For other people, like we have to figure out, wait, what are you doing? What's going on here? Right? What do I need to say in this situation?
Exactly.
And this is where we end up studying psychology.
Yeah, that was, I was trying to think of the word, but like your ability to kind of manipulate is a strong word, but motivate people into interacting with you, that's what we call charisma. When someone walks in the room and everyone like automatically, even without knowing them, like gets attracted to them and starts talking to them and like laughing at their jokes, even if they're not that funny, that's the use of psychology to make you more desirable into motivating people to interact with you, and that's what charisma is. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was a pretty interesting like find for me at the age of 13, 14.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, manipulation is a very loaded term to use, but one thing that has always struck me, like if we go back to, for instance, behavioral research, we'll realize that there's always going to be some amount of influence that we have on the world, and it's mutual. The world has on us. So I think of B.F. Skinner. I'm paraphrasing something he said right now, but we can set up a situation and try to influence the behavior of this pigeon. I set up my stimuli, I set up my reinforcement, and I'm trying to get the pigeon to learn something, to behave in a certain fashion. But all the while, the pigeon is doing the same thing to me. Based on how the pigeon responds to these situations, that ends up changing how I behave in turn.
Mm.
So whether we're doing it intentionally or unintentionally, it's always going to be this mutual interaction that we have on other people and vice versa.